Coming up on the road to Detroit, we'll check in on the top arms of the Tigers farm system, including the #1 overall pick of the 2018 draft. Then we'll hear from two young prospects whose hitting talent is clearly ahead of the curve. Later on, baseball is a family affair for a couple of intriguing Tigers outfield prospects.
Yeah, he actually broke my collarbone one time, so he probably didn't tell you guys about that.
All that and more is up next as we go inside the Tigers developmental system on the road to Detroit.
Matt Manning strikes out the side.
That was a nasty-looking pitch. Faedo with a 1-2-3 first.
And this ball is over and gone!
Yep, and that ball is gone. Isaac Paredes with a solo home run.
The Detroit Tigers front office points to the spring of 2018 as the point of demarcation for the franchise's rebuild. Longtime ace Justin Verlander had been traded for several talented prospects just a few months earlier. Al Avila's staff was already deep into preparation for making the #1 overall selection in the 2018 Major League Baseball draft. Flash forward nearly 2 years later, and signs abound that brighter days are ahead for this storied franchise.
Our scouting staff has done an outstanding job. Scott Pleiss, our scouting director, is outstanding. He's a tremendous talent evaluator. David Chad, my assistant, he's been a scouting director for many years before he was my assistant GM. So we all go out there and watch these guys. So these guys are very good talent evaluators. But on top of that, we've added, the analytics department too. Guys like Jay Sartori and Jim Logo are in there now, and they're more involved than ever. So we have a lot more information today than, say, several years ago in order to come to a conclusion and make a good decision.
Those good decisions have resulted in transforming a farm system that once ranked 30th out of 30 teams to one that is currently 6th on the MLB pipeline chart, 8th on Fangraph's list. A quick snapshot of the Tigers' 40-man roster reveals a talented pitching core, which includes the #1 ranked right-handed prospect in Casey Mize. Over the course of 15 starts at AA Erie, Mize recorded a .320 ERA, a whip just above 1, while also throwing his first no-hitter as a pro.
I was just mainly happy that I didn't get all the welcome to AA type thing, so I was basically happy about that for the most part. So I just wanted to prove that I belonged here and I earned the promotion. Danny Pinero, asked me about my preparation to throw, and I told him it takes about an hour and a half for me to get ready to play catch. And he said, "How long do you play catch for?" And I said, 10 minutes. And he said, "You prepare for an hour and a half to play catch for 10 minutes?" I was like, "Yeah, I want to be able to play this game for a very long time, and I'm trying to take care of my body." And there's a lot of other players within this organization on this team that even do.
Such as 21-year-old Matt Manning, who's another top 10 righty and was named Tigers Minor League Player of the Year by Baseball America.
These guys, I think they look at me and they think they have a chance to get a win. I'm going to keep us in the game, and that's really what I thrive on.
That's now 10 strikeouts for Matt Manning.
And Alex Faedo, who finished 3rd in the Eastern League in strikeouts.
I feel like they put a lot of priority on pitching, so I feel like me being a pitcher, hopefully I can bring that to the table, being a good, consistent pitcher every 5th day that can bring wins to the team.
And Alex Faedo has struck out the side in the 3rd.
However, perhaps no pitcher in the Tigers system turned as many heads in 2019 as Tarek Skubal.
Here's the 2-2. Fastball on the low outside corner, called strike 3. 13 strikeouts for Tarek Skubal.
13 strikeouts. It was a career high for Tarek Skubal back on July 19th, but in 2019 it was also the number of strikeouts he averaged for every 9 innings he pitched. A mark that would have put him behind only Houston Astros' Garrett Cole had he been pitching in the major leagues.
Which is absurd. You really don't see that anywhere. And just a big, powerful fastball, mid to upper 90s that no one can really touch.
Fastball. And nobody comes close to touching it. And I don't know what it is, but I'm glad he's on my team.
So too is the Tigers front office, which had Skubal pegged for this type of breakout a year ago.
Skubal, a left-handed pitcher that we drafted this past year, has finished up very strong, had a real good year and did some good things in the Instruction League that leads us to believe that he's going to have a strong year in 2019.
Going back to the draft, and Scott Pleiss and scouts was very high on Tarek. When you come onto the scene like he did, obviously, people are always going to question, where did this guy come from? Well, he was a name. To watch what he has done has really been an impressive feat, obviously, but it's not surprising.
The only difference is everyone else in baseball has begun to take notice. To start the season, Skubal, a 9th-round pick in 2018, wasn't even recognized on MLB Pipeline's top 30 Tigers prospect list. Now, he's number 4 for the organization, while also charting in at number 74 among MLB's top 100 up-and-comers.
I'm just a guy that goes out and likes to compete and likes to put a team in a position to win a game, and that's just kind of who I am. I'm a competitor. My older brother didn't let me beat him at anything until I could actually do it myself. When you do that growing up, like, it's something that you've always just competed with. I love this game. I love being able to go out and play with your brothers and go to battle with your brothers.
Up next, it's not just the arms that have raised expectations heading into 2020. We'll identify a couple of impact bats to watch for when we return on the road to Detroit. At a time when the average age of position players in Major League Baseball is dropping, the Tigers may stay ahead of the curve with a pair of precocious hitters. 19-year-old outfielder Riley Green and 20-year-old infielder Isaac Paredes. For Paredes, the Tigers' 5th-ranked prospect from MLB Pipeline, it's easy to remember exactly when he realized professional baseball was in his future. He was then just 12 years old.
Los scouts de México, ellos me decían que yo podía jugar profesional.
The scouts in Mexico, they told me I was able to play professional. They didn't mention that I was able to play in the United States. But you realize with the level of play and the competitors you're facing at a young age, with experienced players, then is when we realized.
However, according to Paredes, the game isn't quite the same outside of the States.
Isaac Paredes with a solo home run, his 9th of the season.
Es mucha la diferencia, la verdad.
It is a big difference. In the United States, the game is fast-paced. In Mexico, we play a little bit slower. But I guess I've adapted to both fast and slow-paced game.
The stats back it up. Now just 20, making him the youngest player on the Erie Seawolves roster. Paredes sports one of the best bats in the Eastern League, finishing in the top 5 in batting average, hits, total bases, on-base percentage, as well as OPS.
Isaac Paredes, a guy like him, he's going to give us offense. He's going to go to AAA and get every day at bats at a young age, 21 years old. So we feel good about that.
Meanwhile, Riley Green didn't skip a beat after being drafted with a 5th overall pick in the 2019 draft out of high school. And it starts with a level of talent that has left his teammates in awe.
He's a freak, dude. Yeah, Riley Green, he's obviously a freak.
The video footage confirms it, whether it's in the weight room, the ball coming off his bat, the phenomenal catches,
He makes the catch!
Or even another sport altogether. The 19-year-old kid can seemingly do it all.
He's looked very impressive offensively. He's a ball player. The guy works very hard, good makeup, but has really advanced hitting skills. So to have a bat like that in our system is very impressive.
I was always the best player on my team. I would always hit the home runs. I'd always hit the walk-offs. I was always that guy that you depended on, I guess. And I'm not trying to be cocky at all. I was just that guy to everyone. And sometimes I would hit a double instead of a home run, and people would be like, "Come on, dude, why didn't you hit a home run?" I'm like, "Sorry." There was kind of that thought in the back of my head where I was like, "Oh, maybe I can do it one day. Maybe I can get drafted." I didn't think I'd be able to get drafted this high.
With the 5th selection of the 2019 MLB Draft, the Detroit Tigers select Riley.
So even like before the draft, when I had the meetings with all the scouts and all the teams and everything, they told me that I wasn't going to be a center fielder, that I was going to be a corner outfielder. So I mean, I got in the weight room, got with my guy, we trained day after day. I wanted to prove him wrong. I wanted to be that guy that like takes the criticism and turns it into a good thing.
He makes a tremendous catch!
It felt great to be able to play that well out there, and I'm just going to keep going.
For opposing teams, that has to be a scary thought, considering that after hitting .351 in the Gulf Coast League and .295 for Connecticut with a combined 56 total bases in 33 games, the teenager finished his inaugural season at Low A, West Michigan, where the average player is 22 years old.
Year one, I think, to me went really good. When I got moved up to West Michigan, had a good debut, struggled a little bit, and that was kind of the first taste of struggling to me. It's just staying confident through it all. Baseball is confidence. That's pretty much all it is to me.
Green isn't the only talented outfielder in the Tigers' pipeline. Coming up, we take a closer look at more prospects who may one day patrol all that green grass in the outfield at Comerica Park. Ask Tigers Vice President of Player Development Dave Littlefield to name a position holding premier interest entering 2020, and he's quick to answer.
I would say the outfield does, in the fact that there's some talented guys, and as we're in the player development mode in this role, and what I do is there's a variety of different talents. There's Daz Cameron, Hosea Zokar, and Derek Hill taking a step forward. Obviously the bat is the separator, and some of those guys will be making some improvements that I'm really excited about.
One player Littlefield and company remain optimistic about is Daz Cameron.
It was like whiplash. I mean, it was just boom, boom, like jumping from this level to the next.
Daz Cameron remembers 2018 like it was yesterday. It was the year he took the Tigers farm system by storm, rising from Advanced A Lakeland all the way to AAA Toledo.
I learned a lot through the process, and the major goal is to play in the big leagues and just stay there. So I'm just working on that to do that.
Cameron's success carried over into spring training last year, where he hit .357 in 16 games playing against big league competition. But he's been around baseball long enough to know that for all the highs, no one is immune to the lows. After being sent back to the Mud Hens, where he would remain for the rest of the season, the Georgia native hit just .214.
In this game, you're gonna fail a lot, so you have to just, take it day by day. Keep it simple, stay within yourself and take it day by day, because there's always another day in this game.
Especially for a player with his talents. Just 22 years old, the 6'2" outfielder remains a top 10 prospect for the Tigers. And Daz has a pretty special mentor, his father Mike, a 17-year Major League veteran who won 3 Gold Gloves in the outfield and was just shy of 300 career homers and 1,000 RBI.
For me to have him, man, it's a blessing. He's great. I mean, I look at him as my dad, first and foremost. But for me to have him through his journey is big, because a lot of the things that I'm going through, he's already been through all of it.
When you have a sounding board like your dad that played the game as well as his dad played the game, and for as long as he played the game, it's only beneficial.
I'm not, so to speak, trying to follow his footsteps, but I am leaning on him to create my own path.
Another Tigers outfield prospect with Major League bloodlines is 20-year-old Parker Meadows, whose high school recently retired the number 16 in honor of both Parker and his brother, Tampa Bay Rays All-Star Austin Meadows. The younger Meadows is looking to build upon a full season at Single-A West Michigan, where he was more than 2 years younger than the league average age.
It was obviously a long year, my first full season, so I had some ups and downs. Stayed healthy, so that was one of my goals, so happy about that.
He's still developing as a player. Strength is going to be a key for him in his progression in the game, and he's doing that. He's working hard. I know he's been down to Lakeland a lot, but he's got all the intangibles. With that frame and that range and that ability, I mean, we can only expect big things from this kid. Now, we're looking forward to Parker coming in 2020 just to see where he's at physically with his development process.
He might be able to take me in a fight now, but I would let him win.
Yeah, he actually broke my collarbone one time, so he probably didn't tell you guys about that, but I was probably 8 years old. He double bounced me on the trampoline and landed on that shoulder, just snapped my collarbone, so.
Jeez. We would always fight on it and always kill each other on it, and I think my parents ended up taking it away one day. I think that's toughened us up today for sure.
As well as possibly preparing him for a little friendly competition.
We moved Riley Green, who's a kind of center fielder, outfielder, along with Parker Meadows, and there's a real nice level of competition between the two.
They kind of fed off each other, pushed each other, which is what you want to see from an organization when you have two elite players like both those kids. No, we're very proud of where he's at.
That includes his older brother, who loves what Parker brings to the plate.
He's always hit growing up, and he's always going to do that. His power is coming, but I think Parker's always going to hit. He's always going to put together good at-bats. He's fast. He's going to do everything in the outfield that anyone else can do. So he's definitely fun to watch.
I know I'm going to do great things. I know I'm going to adjust from the good and the bad. So, just keep that positive mindset.
Coming up, we'll see how the Tigers stayed on the offensive in the 2019 draft, resulting in a crop of college hitters with serious upside. In each of the previous 4 drafts entering the 2019 draft, the Tigers used their first pick on starting pitchers. Those picks, which resulted in Beau Burrows, Matt Manning, Alex Faedo, and Casey Mize, now represent 4 of the club's top 15 prospects. So this past summer, the Tigers opted for positional players, picking Riley Green in round 1, then using 7 of their next 9 selections on hitters. The result? Solid reviews from publications such as Bleacher Report, which graded the team's draft an A. Among the newest group of Tigers to watch for in 2020 is a collegian whose story just keeps getting better and better.
I used to write for my high school paper. When my career ends, my headline will definitely say, Quintana ends it with a bang.
This just in, Tigers infield prospect Nick Quintana has been making news for quite some time. A highly regarded baseball prospect since he was a teenager and a coach's dream, according to his former coach at Arborview High, Gary White. Quintana was named the Gatorade State Player of the Year in Nevada for the 2015-2016 season.
From when I started T-ball, I just fell in love with the game and never played any other organized sports. I wanted to stand out and separate myself from other players.
So Nick headed out to the University of Arizona, where the awards soon piled up. Here in Pac-12 Player of the Week, his first weekend as a college player. And before all was said and done, all-conference, all-region, all-American, and to top it off, he was a second-round selection by the Detroit Tigers in 2019.
Nick Quintana, third baseman, University of Arizona in Tucson, Arizona.
The first impression that I got is just, this is a guy that, he just want to be the best. He didn't want to take any day off.
Which was probably A-OK with the fans. After all, he's got a unique style, from the tattoo on his right forearm.
I just have my last name. I got this timepiece. It's got my time of birth.
To the locks that have earned him the nickname The Flow.
Our SID media guy at Arizona kind of just came up with it my freshman year.
There's plenty to take notice of when it comes to the 5'10", 190-pounder.
I think he's a tick away. He's so close from just blowing up this organization.
Another player who can provide some pop is Bryant Packard. A 5th-round selection, Packard hit nearly 300 with an OPS of 815 across 3 levels in his first season of pro ball, playing each and every day for his mom.
I like to say I play for her, and she's my biggest fan, biggest supporter. She's the one that taught me the game initially.
Building off those basics imparted by his mom, Cherry, the 6'3", 200-pounder was able to find his way to East Carolina University. Only initially, it didn't seem like it would last.
My freshman year I got hurt, I think it was April of my freshman year. I hurt my back, pars defect. I didn't swing a bat from that April to the next January. The doctor said, I don't know if you're ever going to really play again or be the same, so I just had to rehab it.
That's putting it lightly. As a sophomore, Packard swung himself into rarefied air, becoming the first player in ECU history to be named to 6 All-American teams in the same season. Along the way, he hit over 400, a slugging percentage north of 650, 14 home runs, and an on-base percentage of .462.
One of my biggest pet peeves is striking out, stuff like that. So, I'm getting in there. I want to hunt the fastball, hit it as far as I can. And then once we get to 2 strikes, that's really when it becomes personal, and I don't want to strike out. It's me versus you.
A mindset that seems to run in the family. In 2019, Packard's mom was diagnosed with cancer, but her baby boy has seen nothing but resilience.
She's strong, man. Whatever comes her way, she's not fazed by it. She believes that she'll beat it, and I think we all do too. So I guess the lesson learned there is, don't give up.
Meanwhile, one of Packard's draft classmates is taking a more studious approach to pursuing his big league dreams.
The mental side is really huge, and it's getting bigger and bigger with, different mechanics and all these things. You got to keep your head, and especially playing every single day, it's so tough to stay there mentally the whole time.
However, if there's someone well prepared to do so, it's the West Michigan Whitecaps' third baseman. Prior to joining the Detroit Tigers organization out of the University of Tennessee, the 6'1", 190-pounder was majoring in nuclear engineering, meaning his mind is no stranger to working overtime.
I think taking those classes and that major helped me be a better learner when it comes to coaches saying something or figuring out a pitcher and stuff like that. I can learn quickly.
The results in his junior year of college spoke for themselves. Andre hit .308 with 58 RBIs, an OPS of .985 and 17 home runs. Those 17 blasts put Lipsius ahead of another Tiger slugger and former volunteer Kristen Stewart, who had 15 home runs in his best collegiate season.
The SEC's home run leader is all alone at the top of the leaderboard.
Actually, a good amount of guys from Tennessee have been in this organization. It's nice to be able to, talk to people that have been through it and, get pointers and tips.
For a young man set to start his professional career, it had to be good to already have a friend, especially as the fraternal twin prepared to leave his best one, Luke, behind.
Yeah, it's weird not having him because, every place I've gone, he's been there, and we got to learn to be able to, do things on our own.
A challenge the 21-year-old is willing to accept. Set to begin his second year in the minors, Andre impressed teammates during his rookie campaign at Single-A West Michigan, where his glove work was on point.
Backhanded Lipsius on the run, throw to first. He got him, what a play!
He's a good player. Obviously, in the field, he's amazing. He made a few Sports Center plays over there at third base, and he can obviously hit pretty good too.
I know that I can control the mental side, which is good, especially at this level, but gotta get stronger. Learn that in West Michigan. You gotta get a lot stronger to be able to compete with some of these guys throwing really hard.
Up next, the organization's rebuild is on the verge of impacting the Major League club. Everyone involved is pointing toward a promising future. Nearly 24 of the Tigers' top 30 prospects played in Double or Triple-A this past season or made their first appearance in Detroit. It's a good sign of organizational depth and an indicator that we'll be soon seeing more fruits of the farm system at Comerica Park.
It's a great day to be a Tiger because the game is going younger. The game is going to a direction where, our younger players, especially in our organization, they are the ones that they're going to represent us.
It's a great opportunity to be a Tiger because there's lots of guys that were sitting here in Instructional League or in spring training last year that are up there right now and getting that opportunity. But your window's only open for so long. Take advantage of it. Commit yourself to be a Major League player.
I think it's a really historic franchise. They are, itching to win, itching to get back on the top. And I think they're doing a really good job of bringing the right people in. I think we're on the right path for it.
We want to create something special to where we can contend and hopefully win a World Series ring for the Detroit Tigers.
I think if we continue to win, people will view us all as winners. That's what we are. That's what's expected and that's what's wanted. And that's going to be, when people think of the Tigers, hopefully they'll think of, that's a group of winners.
Everybody's on the same page, from Chris Ilitch to Al Avila to Ron Gardenhire, all the way down through the player development system, is that we know it's been a tough go with the rebuild that we're going through, but we're making the commitment not only with the drafts, but the resources that are available down here in an incredible training facility in Lakeland. There's going to be much better days ahead, and I think Tiger fans are going to be really excited about some of the high quality players and particularly starting pitching that we have moving forward here soon.
From a pitching perspective, we feel, obviously we have things going in the right direction, but now with the addition of Riley Green and guys in the minor leagues like Isaac Paredes making some movement with the bats and position players, we're heading in the right direction. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a step-by-step process that can't be rushed.